Welcome back. Dr. Aaron Chadwick here, part of Your Nutrition Physicians. Do you suffer from headaches? Well, headaches are a warning sign that something's wrong inside your body. Let's talk about it. First of all, there's different types of headaches. Some headaches can be stabbing. Some headaches can kind of move around. Some headaches are kind of dull. Some headaches kind of feel like you have a vice around your head. And those are warning signs that something is going on inside. Why? Because our bodies have nerves, and when we have pain, such as a headache, it means that our nerves are blocked. Those nerves connect to each other through your organ systems. Let me say it like this. We all have organs in our body. We have a heart, a liver, lungs, kidneys, and those organ systems communicate with each other with nerves on these nerve pathways. These nerve pathways come up and travel about 1/4 of an inch under your skin. Those are, in Chinese medicine, are called meridians or channels. And those meridians and channels, again, connect to the organ systems. So the liver has a particular pathway. The gallbladder has a particular pathway, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when we have a headache, we can tell which organ system is weakened or in trouble where the headache is in your head. So here's a chart here I wrote. So depending on the location of the headache, depending on which organ system involved. So if you get headaches on the top of your head, we call that the vertex. That has to do with your liver being out of balance. It's a very common thing. So the top of the head equals to a liver imbalance or liver stress. Now you may say, Dr. Chadwick, okay, I get headaches on top of my head, and I heard what you said, so I went to my doctor and I told him that you had said. They did a blood test and they checked, and he said my liver was fine. I'm not saying that your liver enzymes, which are in your blood, have to be elevated for you to have a liver problem. When the liver enzymes in the blood go elevated, that means a real severe disease of the liver. But when you have headaches on top of your head, that means your liver is stressed. And your liver is your organ of elimination. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So the top of the head, headaches, means your liver is out of balance. The sides, the temples, that means that your gallbladder is stressed. Now, some of you may be saying, well, Dr. Chadwick, I don't have a gallbladder, but you still have the nerves for the gallbladder. And many people suffer from gallbladder-type headaches on the temple because they're stressing out their gallbladder. And similar to the liver, the gallbladder handles fats in our bodies, the fats that we eat. So if we eat a lot of bad fats, we can cause problems in our gallbladder. We'll come back to that in a minute also. The next one is front or frontal, the frontal part of your head. If you have headaches there, that means that your stomach is in distress. Very common. I see patients every day, and a lot of them, especially young teenagers, have frontal headaches. Why? Because most teenagers are eating a lot of junk food. That junk food upsets their stomach, and they get a headache on the frontal part of the head. That means their stomach is out of balance or is in danger, has something wrong with it. The back of the head, it's called the occiput or occipital area. That has to do with the bladder. Your bladder controls your urination. So when there's an issue with your bladder, the back of the head. And it's also very common that the back of the head means the blood, because the blood is also an organ system. So when there's a dull ache in the back of the head, it's very common in females, especially menstruating females, because their blood goes down when they menstruate, they lose blood, and that causes a headaches in the back of the head. And then the last but not least is if you have a headache behind your eyes, that has a lot to do with your liver, because in Chinese medicine, we understand that your organs in your body have connections with your sense organs. So your eyes are connected to your liver, your ears are connected to your kidneys, your nose is connected to your lungs, and your mouth is connected, believe it or not, to your heart. So when there's an imbalance in those areas, like we're talking about behind the eyes, a headache behind the eyes, that has to do with liver problems, just like the top of the head does. So we have all these issues of headaches. So what is causing most of these things? I left this up here from last time, my last video, because these are a big player in chronic pain and inflammation. The liquid oils that you can be exposed to, or that you're using in your cooking, or that any of these oils that you find in crackers or cookies and things of that nature, baked goods have a lot of these oils, vegetable oils in them, and they're very dangerous because they create a lot of inflammation, especially when it comes to headaches. So avoid all liquid oils, vegetable oils. especially when it says vegetable oils. And you would think that the term vegetable oil means that it comes from vegetables, so it's good. But that's just a ploy. That's just a marketing scheme. Because the vegetable oils, if you look at your vegetable oil container, you turn it around, it'll say the source is either soybean or a mixture of canola, soybean, and corn, some mixture of those one or those three. And that's what vegetable oils are. So they're not really vegetables. They're really other types of nuts and seeds. Also, soybean oil is not good. Canola oil is terrible. All these oils are terrible. Corn oil. Why? Because these are called long-chain fats, and they're susceptible to becoming rancid. That means they go bad because of the air and because of the light. So whenever you buy them, they're already rancid because they've been sitting in the warehouse for a while. So it's not a good idea to use these things, because when they go rancid, they destroy the cells of your body and they create damage to your body. Do not use these oils. Any type of vegan spreads. And I don't care if it says organic or if it says a blend of olive oil and an oil. If it looks like a spread, like a butter, it is not good for your body. It is very toxic and very inflammatory. And it even may say things like, oh, it doesn't contain any trans fats. And we know that trans fats are super terrible, but these are still super terrible. Don't use them. Getting back to the headaches, when we talk about the top of the headaches, and then sides and all the areas where they are, there's some common things that create headaches. Number one is not drinking enough water. So you got to make sure that you drink enough water. How much water should you drink? About half of your ideal body weight in ounces of water per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you should have about 75 ounces of water per day spread out throughout the day. That's a really big thing. Being dehydrated causes the blood not to flow. And that brings me to another point. Blood is a watery substance. When we don't have enough water, the blood can't circulate as well, and that, depending on your own individual weak organ system, it'll show up in one or more of these areas, right? It's very common when you don't drink enough water to have the top of your head hurting because your liver needs that water too. But we also know too that when there's not enough water or other reasons, we have lack of circulation. So one thing is a deficiency of water can cause poor circulation. And another sign of that is the type of headache that you have. So if you have a stabbing headache, we call that blood stasis. That means your blood is not moving. So depending on where it is, if it's on your temples and it's a stabbing kind of headache, that means your gallbladder, the blood is not flowing through it. If you have stabbing in the back of your head, that means that your bladder or your blood is stuck. It's not moving. Behind the eyes, again, goes back to your liver. I mentioned the gallbladder on the sides. Frontal headaches, again, when you have stabbing pain in your frontal headaches, that means your stomach has blood stasis. The blood is not moving. And you can compare or contrast that to different types. So we have the stabbing type of headache, which has to do with blood stasis. Then we have more of a dull kind of achy feeling. A dull achy feeling is what we call a deficiency headache. So it's not the blood being stuck, it's there's not enough blood or there's not enough of certain nutrients in your body. So let me say it like this. Nutrient deficiencies will cause dull, achy headaches. Stabbing headaches, the blood is not circulating. When it comes to the blood stasis stabbing type of headaches, aspirin, okay, you're not deficient in Tylenol or aspirin or Advil to cause headaches. You're not deficient in those. You're deficient in certain nutrients, right? And that's why at your nutrition physician, we always test the blood. We don't guess to see what your body's deficient in. So looking at these guys here, we know that when we have that dull, achy kind of headache, that's a deficiency in the body. And one I actually didn't write here, if you have a headache that feels like kind of like a vice, like somebody's grabbing your whole head and squeezing it, that has to do with your spleen. When your spleen is deficient, that means that you'll get that kind of headache where it's like a vice around your entire head. A vice grip around your entire head means that your spleen is deficient. So, and your spleen is a big part of your digestive system. So that means if you have that vice grip type headache, you're doing something wrong to your spleen. You're causing it to get stressed out. Spleen is your digestive organ. You're eating too much processed food, eating too much sugary food, eating too much artificial sweeteners, eating too much of these guys. That's the origin of those things, okay? A big part of it. The last thing I'll tell you about today and about headaches, one of the biggest things besides not having enough water and the blood being stuck like that is the fact that when your blood sugar drops, you'll get a headache. Typically in the mid-afternoon, you get a headache, and depending on where it is, that means that that blood sugar in your liver could be low, in your gallbladder, wherever it might be, it's low, and that causes you to have a headache. If that's the case, then we want to make sure we don't eat too much sugar, because when we eat a lot of sugar, the sugar will go up in our body, then it'll drop down below normal because of that high sugar intake. When your sugar is on the way down, that causes you to have headaches. So if that's the case, you want to make sure you're eating enough fiber, you're getting away from refined sugars, and you're not eating too many sweets. You know, most people like to have a little sweet after their lunch or whatever, you know, a candy bar or some ice cream or whatever. Don't do that, because that's going to cause your blood sugar to crash, and it's cause you to have headaches. That's it for today. This is Dr. Aaron Chadwick. Please like this video and share it. Please follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. And also, every Monday night at 7 p.m., my wife and I, Dr. Wanda, we do a free question and answer period to answer all your health questions for free, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have the links below for our Facebook Live and for our Instagram Live. And also, we're coming up with some great new programs that's going to help you to get better and healthy. So please follow us again. And if you have any comments, please write them down below of any future topics you would like to have us speak about. So again, Dr. Chadwick from Your Nutrition Physicians. God bless you guys. We'll see you next time. Stay healthy.